So, how do we know when it has gotten to 0 so that we can stop it? The first is we need to know when it gets to 0. Then, we need to stop it. First is, let's see how we can know if it has gotten to 0. Okay. We can say that maybe when it gets to 0, help us to alert something. Do you understand? Hello, sir?
I'm with you, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. So we can say if my input, if it's equal to 0, just alert hello, so that we can know if it has gotten to 0. You know, the input is the one handling the numbers, right? You know, it's the one we are subtracting one from and all. So when it gets to 0, just alert hello so that we can know if it has gotten to 0. So I can say good. We have this alert. But instead of alerting when it gets to 0, what we want to do instead is that it should stop counting. It should. You said?
So we clear the set at 0.
Yes. So we can say when it gets to 0, clear interval. Do you understand? Then the interval we want to clear will be this interval. So now I explained to you that if you want to do that, you create a variable like this, interval, then you now set, it's not must call it interval, you can call it any name of your choice. But you create a variable, you assign it to this interval. Then I once explained to you that we could have done it like this. But the reason we are not doing it like this is because this variable will be a local variable that will not be accessible within this function. Abina.
Yes.
Alright, sir. So that's why we are making it a global variable, so that we can make use of it inside multiple functions. So by making it a global variable now, we can assign it here, then we can now say clear interval, then the variable name, interval. So when this gets to 0, instantly it will clear the interval. So let's do this together. Any questions, sir?
Yeah, I understand now.
Okay. That is for interval and clear interval. Now, this is what you're going to do. Do you understand what you did very well?
I understand, but I think I have a question.
Okay, sir.
That I think this code I sent to you. Though I was thinking of something. I wanted to ask if I did I have two functions.
Okay.
So, but it was now blinking instead of showing. Maybe because I don't put the other function in another div.
No, that's not the reason. Let me, in fact, let's run the code you sent
It's
to
showing
me.
that it's working, but it's not doing it separately like it will do in the console.
I'm coming. The code you sent to me, I want us to run it together so that we can address it and look at what you need to do. Right. Okay. So this one that you sent, you type a number here and you click on this and it only removed one and stopped. So let's look at it together.
But after a lot of time when I open again, it has reduced the number again.
So if I wait a bit now, it will still reduce it again. Okay, let me wait a bit. Okay, so while waiting, let's look at it together so that we know how it works. A user will enter a number here. Then the user will click on this button. Instantly, it will call on this function, click me. It will get the value inside that input as my input. It will set an interval called subnum every second. So it's going to keep calling on this every second, okay? Then set interval my input, okay, equals to input that value. Oh,
Half a second.
have a second, okay. Now, this is what is happening. Okay, this second button, okay, is to clear the interval. Okay. Now here is it. Let's assume a user entered 10 here, and you click on this button. You know it's going to run the code here, Abby.
Yes.
My input will be 10, Abby.
Yes.
Then let's pay close attention to this part. Set interval subnum every second, and also this. So we have to set intervals. It will set this. It will set this. But because the time of this is shorter than this, you know this is 500 milliseconds. Why this is 1 second? So it's going to run this first. What it's going to do is that it's going to say my input equals to input.value. So that means my input will be 10, Abby. Then it will now run this one. When it runs this, it will run the codes here. My input minus, that is my input becomes what? It becomes 9, Abby.
Yes.
Result.inner text equals to my input. Result.inner text will be 9, Abby. Now, come back to this place. If you come back and run this again, because remember, this is 500 milliseconds, Abby. My input equals to input.value. What is input.value? Input.value is whatever is inside this place, and it will still be 10. Do you understand?
Okay.
Since we are only setting the result inside this div. This input will still retain whatever the user typed there. In fact, look at the one we did the other time. If you observe, what I typed inside this input still remained there. Abi now.
Yes.
The only thing changing was what we had inside our div.
Yes.
That means my input will now be input.value. That means my input will go back to 10. From 9, it will go back to 10.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I get.
Okay. It will go back to 10. Then when it ends up running this, it will change it to 9.
Yes.
Then when it comes back here again, it will set it back to whatever is inside that input, which is still 10. You see 10 again.
Yes.
Yeah. Now it may not behave. Sometimes you may be lucky enough to. I'm looking at a possibility. Yeah, it's possible. Although the chance is slim, there's a possibility that you may be lucky enough to see it count down to 8 sometimes, and here is the reason for that. The chance is slim, but it is possible. You know, we have two 500 milliseconds inside 1 second,
Yes.
meaning that this is expected to run twice, while this will run once, at least in a second, Abby.
Yes.
Now, but it's possible that when this runs the second time, it may fall almost at the same time as this. Do you get it? Hello, sir. So back to how I was explaining. You see this? This will run twice within a second. This will run twice and this will run once, Abby. Now there's a possibility that the second time this will run, within a second this will first run. The second time this will run will fall at almost the same time that this will run. Do you get it? Yes, if within a second, if this runs the first time, and this is about to run the second time, it will fall at almost the same time, like it will fall at almost the same time. So it is possible for this to run twice before this runs at all.
Yes.
And it's also possible that this will run, then this will run, then this will run.
Okay.
Do you get it? Let's say it is possible. So that little difference, or that the possibility of this running twice before this, or this running followed by this will marginally come before the second time of this. That's the highest, like that is more likely because this code is before this, so that is more likely. But then there's also a tendency for this to run twice before this. Now, if you are putting that tendency in place, then sometimes you may see it maybe misbehave a bit. So this might somehow reduce to, you can say it is back to 10, then back to 11. So it is that little possibility that is affecting the code. But I hope you understand the problem at hand now.
I understand.
All right. Good one. Now, let me give you a task similar to the one we just did together. Mainly, the way you learn programming is by doing. It's by doing. Here is it. Our today's assignment will be continuation of the last one. Now, the last one, I think I only have to add one button, Abby, so that when you click, it starts counting down. But when it gets to 0, it will stop, Abby.
Yes.
That's the one. Now, here is what I want you to do now for today's assignment. So I'll just continue with where I stopped mine. So with the last class, I said count down. When it gets to 0, it will stop counting. So now we are not stopping at 0 again. We are not stopping at 0. What we want to do now is that I will remove this part. We now have to, we have another button. We'll call this play. We have another button, we call that pause. So here is it. When I click on this first button, it will start counting down. When I click on pause, it will stop there. Do you understand? Let's assume it's counted to 10 and I click on pause, it will stop at 10. When I click on play again, it will start counting down from 10. Do you understand? Are we together, sir?
I'm with you, sir.
So I will type a number here. Click on play, it will start counting down. When I click on pause, it will stop at whatever number it is at that moment. It will stop there.
Okay.
Then when I click on play again, it will continue to count down again. When I click on pause, it will stop at whatever number it is. Click on play, it will start counting. It will continue counting down. Pause, it will stop. Do you get the task?
I understand.
Okay. Alright. Please go and try that out.